What's up, Max Ordination? It is Tuesday for Jeff, Wednesday for myself. You want to know how the future is looking?
Yeah, tell me.
Looking good, dog.
All
Looking
right.
good.
The glasses are a new thing. I'm feeling them.
So, a lot of people have been asking me, like, Tyler, have you just been wearing contacts this whole time, or did your eyes just get bad all of a sudden? What do you think? What do you think the answer is?
I think that you just don't care and you can't see, and now you're wearing glasses that you can see with, or those are just like a blue light glasses, and you don't.
Boom.
Yeah.
Dude. So, obviously, like we talk all the time about like reading and like educating yourself and trying to like self-care. And so I've been reading about this blue light stuff. And, so I bought a pair of glasses. I'm like, I'm going to wear them for 1 week and see what the difference, see if I notice any differences. It could be a placebo effect. I don't know, but I have noticed that I sleep better.
Okay.
We're always on the computer. We're always on our phones. And so I've just been wearing these things like
So
nonstop.
let me ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you started wearing those,
Yeah.
did you alter your screen time before sleep in any way?
No.
Okay. So same amount of screen time.
I've had more screen time because now that the urban sniper course is over, there's a lot of planning for the next one. We got Max Ordinate stuff. We got SHOT Show. We got all these things where I've actually been, my normal bedtime is around 8:39, and I would be done working anything computer related by 8. I'm pushing that pretty much every night consistently for the past week and a half to midnight.
So I watched a few videos and read some studies on blue light, and specifically blue light glasses. I'm not saying they don't work, but what I am saying is that you get more blue light spectrum from the sun than you are from your cell phone, from monitors. Like not even close. Like not even the amount of blue light coming from the screens and from the cell phones is not even measurable realistically.
Yeah.
The blue light glasses do work to stop blue light. However, the measurable amount of blue light isn't enough to register on a blue light. They have these like papers basically that you can like shine blue light on and it'll like turn color almost. And they're not even enough to register on those. So
Yeah.
it could be placebo. It could be less eye strain. They could be doing something else that just eases your eyes, not necessarily to blue light, but what the fuck do I know?
Dude, I don't know shit either. I do know when you're talking about the eye strain piece, right? Sometimes if I'm like actually working on the cell phone or the tablet or something like that, like you're sitting there and maybe you're going at it for an hour. And then
Definitely.
at a certain point, like you look in a different direction, you look at something else and like you have this different vision. Like I don't want to call it double vision, but you've got this weird eyesight.
You have near and far focus that your eyes, your eye's a muscle and it needs to move, right? It needs to do things. So when your eye's locked into one position for so long, it's just like any other kind of muscle strain. You get a muscle strain.
So I haven't been feeling that. I don't know.
All right.
It could be me, but you know what? Like if you do something placebo and it works, why stop?
Is it a placebo?
I mean, whatever it is, dude, it's working. So I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a placebo and it works, is it a placebo or did it just work?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I think they look fantastic. I think before we get started, we need to, oh, hold on. My fridge door's open.
Oh no, that's electricity, dog. You trying to air condition the garage or what?
Well, that was full dad mode right there. We need to address the elephant in the room, which is my beautiful mustache. And I just want to point out that my wife was very much feeling my old pictures of me in uniform. And I was like, well, let me give you some compliment.
Oh, that's so nice.
So I'm giving her some nostalgia.
That's so nice, dude. That's why she's still married to you. Because I was just going to ask this question of like, how are you still married?
Because she doesn't have a choice because there's 6 children, and what else is she going to do?
I mean, when we're over there and we're like getting set up for a podcast, she just looks at us like, I want to murder both of you.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
she was towards the end of the pregnancy at that point. So there could have been some
yes.
hormones and, just that overall like pregnancy rage.
Yeah, so she's much less ragey now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
spoiler, we just had the baby. What's today? Today Tuesday, so a week and like 2 days ago, a
I
week
was
and a
gonna
day
say
ago.
she instantly dropped like 20 pounds, didn't she?
Yeah, more than that. Yeah, she's feeling much better. The labor was tough, but yeah, we had for those that don't know, this is kid number 6.
Yeah.
We had another girl, and it was a 13 hours of active labor. It was pretty gnarly. We had the baby at home. We had a midwife. It was really cool. Like, we just prefer the stay at home. There's enough kids that have come out that it's not complicated. It's just give birth in the pool, and it's a much more, it's a pretty special moment to do it at home by yourself versus, going to the hospital and letting the doctor be the first one to touch my kid. So it was kind of cool.
So you pulled it out.
So I did Eliza. So
her out.
Eliza, I delivered Eliza, our toddler.
Yeah.
But so she's 2 now. But this labor was so tough that we did a pool. So she actually gave birth. The baby floated out, and she just reached back and picked her up, and then she was there. Like, it was pretty cool.
Dude, that's wild, man.
Yeah. So I was on the non-gross end over here, just coaching her on.
So the baby just floated, and you're like, "Oh, here,
Yeah,
let me grab you."
No, it just floats out. And I mean, the baby can stay under for as long as it wants. Like, it's not until it comes out, it doesn't need to breathe. Like, until it's out of water, it can stay underwater for, ever, I suppose.
That's wild, dude. It's wild.
So that's a little bit of the update. That's kind of why we've been hit and miss with podcasts, since we were supposed to kind of go on a big run after the first, but the pregnancy, it was just a hard pregnancy this time. It was much harder than the last.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I feel like this episode is going to play into the date that we're finally getting back at it. Like, we did 62, 63 episodes last year.
Yeah, we did.
That's more than one a week.
Yeah, because for a while we were doing a couple a week, and we also did, and that's adding in some of the, some of the counts won't make sense because we do have some, Patreon only stuff. Some of the real good ones are on Patreon, but our total count is 62, includes, we would film 2 or 3 in a day sometimes when you're here, we would knock a bunch out. So yeah, we gotta get moving.
It's for us, it's a lot. I feel like I listen to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of it's all football related. I don't really listen to rifle related shit unless there's
I don't either.
something cool that comes out. But I haven't heard anything cool coming out for a while. But with football podcasts, like some of these major guys, like they're put on by CBS or ESPN, like they got some backing. That's all these dudes do. So every day they're just in the studio recording. We have alternate lives where we got different stuff to work on. This essentially is not paying us shit. Like,
no, this is free.
I think we mainly make enough money to pay for some of the subscriptions that we have to have to make the podcast.
Yeah.
Right. But outside of that, this thing's pretty free. So we're doing it as just like a promotional service, get some information out there, which is why we just get to talk about whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, I don't care. So it'd be nice to have more sponsors and some people like floating us cash. But the realism is that we get to do whatever we want. And there's a hole in the market for a lot of the stuff that we talk about, because there's things that, aren't discussed or the knowledge really isn't out there for how we approach precision rifles.
Yeah.
But also, if we were locked into a certain format, certain schedules, and it just wouldn't work for either one of us.
No, it wouldn't. So with that being said, we are full speed ahead, right? Moving into 2024. the courses are online, and we don't run a lot of promotional deals. And somebody had messaged in or went through one of the team members and said, "Hey, is Max Ordinate going to do any sales this year?" So I was like, you know what, fuck it, we'll do a sale. So we did one, and it was so successful that we extended it
Yep.
beyond January 2nd. And we gave it another week. And I want to say, like, majority of our courses right now are sitting at like 75-80% full, to where we're looking at like, should we add more courses and can we handle that workload? So that's exciting. T-shirts. I'm wearing one right
I see
now,
that.
brand new. Okay. We're supposed to, I'm trying to get them all together so we could just drop t-shirts. So I'm excited about the t-shirts. They're pretty simple. They're soft, good quality, simple t-shirts, not trying to get elaborate or anything like that. We want them to be affordable, but then, dude, the stickers, I went overboard on the stickers. I think I did.
Saw that.
Yeah. So it's going to be official going forward. You can't get a sticker unless you are in a class or you buy the sticker pack off the website. I mean, I think I ordered 15 different styles of stickers. I went overboard, kind of. What do you think about my penguin?
It's interesting. It's extra. I love it.
I mean, it would look good on this mug right here, a little penguin with a
It would.
Barrett 50 cal. I'm just saying,
Well,
like,
and to tie some stickers and classes together, I don't know if this is something that we kind of discussed it last night, and I had some conversations, but I think we're going to add a class that's not currently on our website, that hasn't been up there for a while.
we haven't done it in 2 years.
And there's a ton of interest, and I think that maybe we should just add it to the schedule.
Yeah. So the urban scoped carbine class will be added back to the schedule. We'll do it twice a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. Yeah, we haven't done it for a while, and
it's not for a lack of interest. People want to do that class. I just it hasn't fit. We haven't had the time.
It's not just that. I mean, I'm just going to be bold and call it how I see it. But I feel like, when you look at PR1 and then you look at urban scoped carbine 1, there's a lot of the same stuff in there. Now we're dealing with different weapon platforms like gas gun, engagement techniques, and styles. But for the most part, I mean, the fundamentals are the fundamentals.
100%.
And you have individuals that message in and they're like, "Hey, can I take PR1 with a semi-auto?" Yes, you can. Absolutely. There's no difference. Like, we're learning a lot of the same stuff. You know what's going to be different? Some of your recoil management is going to be different. The way that you work malfunctions will be different. Okay. But for the most part, you're learning all the fundamentals of marksmanship and applying it to a semi-auto. What I notice is that I don't see the precision gas gun people dedicated to investing in their training like a bolt gunner. I mean, let's just put it out there. Gas gunners are notoriously cheap as fuck. So, and it's not like we're making millions of dollars over here off of our training course fucking prices. Like, there's range costs, there's target fees, there's instructor fees. By the end of the day, like, you're getting basically our lowest price. We should probably be fucking double, but got to make it affordable. And still, that price just seems to be out of reach for that gas gun market.
Yeah, but I also think the gas gun market is also very spread out, right? So if you talk about a precision bolt gun, you typically have a couple tiers of guys that'll show up with bolt guns, guys that have good entry level guns that'll work and do the job, and guys that have some pretty top notch gear that bitchin', right? But that's pretty much who you have shown up to the classes, and those guys are willing to spend money. When you talk about scoped carbines, you have such an array of, okay, so you want to take a scoped carbine class. Well, let's clarify what you want. Do you have a precision rifle that happens to be a semi-automatic weapons platform?
Yeah.
Or do you have an LPVO on a carbine or do you have a match upper from some company that's a 16-inch barrel with a carbine length gas system, or like, what do you have?
Yeah.
Because the market is so saturated with so many types of guns that, you know, I think it's just there's not that many guys that have precision gassers that want to take the class.
But we don't call it precision, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
It's called urban scoped carbine, which means you got your, low power variable, bring that shit. You got your match upper on your fucking forged lower that's loose and wobbly as shit. Bring that shit, right?
Those are the guys that aren't spending the money.
Exactly. But there's going to be obviously like understanding what your accuracy capability is out of that weapon system.
Yeah.
And then learning how to apply that downrange. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Individuals will message us all the time. Hey, I have this hunting rifle. All right, tell me what hunting rifle it is. Oh, it's this and this and this. And it's completely stock. I got this on it. It's like, all right, cool. You're going to be limited in round count. We just can't put the amount of volume through that gun that we do some of these other rifles, but bring your shit and we will make it work for you. We will have specific round count drills for you. Ultimately, you're going to walk away learning what you wanted to learn.
Yeah. And I'll actually add to that. If that's the weapon that you're going to run, you have a hunting rifle and you're going to show up to class because this is what you have.
Yeah.
You are probably going to leave that class better than a lot of the guys that leave the class that have 6 or 7 rifles and they're really leaning on the fucking money portion of it, putting all these kinds of money into their gear. Whereas this dude's one rifle, he's going to be deadly.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, man. So coming up, SHOT Show. Fun fact for you. Okay. This is another reason that I feel the Marines are better than the Army. One, because I was a Marine and we just always have this long-standing battle with the Army. But two, right? Take any holiday. It could be Christmas, Martin Luther King Day, which just passed, by the way. You go to a Marine base, which I have been working on. And you know what's open on those days?
Oh.
Chow, gym.
Okay.
That's all the Marine needs, right? Essentially.
Yes, I guess.
Maybe beer. Okay. Well, I have been hanging out at an Army base recently. On Martin Luther King Day, I wake up, get all ready to go. I'm like, you know what? They're probably going to open a little later today. So I won't go at 5 a.m. They open at 5 a.m., by the way, not 3 a.m. like the Marine Corps side. I'm like, I'll go at 7. I go there. The entire gym facility is shut down for the day. What are you supposed to do?
On a holiday. Holidays, you take holidays off.
You can't work out on a holiday?
No, you can't.
This is Army strong. This is Army strong. I'm just saying. For all you Army cats out there, I still love you. Okay. All right. So we got SHOT Show coming up. I'm getting ready to fly home here pretty soon. SHOT Show, got some appointments to make, Falcor, Leupold, some other companies. Then we got PR1, basic sniper course, PR3, all back to back to back. It was funny because Paul is getting messages and emails like, I'm signed up for this course, but will Tyler be there? Like, is that a good thing or are you afraid? Like, where are we? Do you want me there or do you not want me there?
I got a buddy of mine who he's going to come out this year. We're going to probably play like Spyglass or Pebble Beach. And then he's going to work in taking probably PR3. It depends on how the schedule lines up, but he's going to take a class. And he's only going to take it if you're not there because he doesn't want to climb.
Well,
fair enough.
He knows if he goes with Nick Diaz, he won't have to climb shit. All right. So we did get Patreon figured out and why we weren't able to upload videos. So I did start uploading videos again to Patreon. We have a few more videos that we're starting to put together as they line up with the podcast, because this podcast right here, we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions and kind of some of the thought process that goes into that And then from now until until we complete this, Jeff, every episode is going to start with a fundamental, a marksmanship fundamental, a scope usage knowledge tool, like something, right? And then to caveat with that, there'll be the video, right? And the video,
Perfect.
you'll have a little snippet of it on YouTube, but we're going to start pushing all that crap to Patreon to try and fund some of these projects, right? So outside of that, New Year's resolutions. That's where I want to start today. What are your thoughts on New Year's resolutions?
I don't make them.
I don't either.
I've never made New Year's resolutions.
You never have? Because I used to.
No.
Then my mentality changed. And basically what changed, Jeff, was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, every year I make this resolution, like I'm going to do this year. And then a few weeks into it, I'm not doing it anymore, right? I don't have the motivation, the drive. I'm not, whatever the case is, I don't have that habit built, and it's just, it's not part of my life anymore. And I was listening to like an audio book or something like that. And the individual was basically like, if you need a New Year's resolution to set a goal, you're a bitch. And from that moment forward, it was just like, there was a switch. And if I wanted to do something, I was just going to do it right then, right there. I was going to come up with a plan and get after it. And it's worked really well. But I used to be a New Year's resolution guy. And I think we're just, as Americans, we kind of grow up with that, do we not?
Yeah. I mean, I say never, but yeah, I mean, obviously much younger years, I used to make them all the time. I was either going to do this year, or I'm going to get to the gym, or I'm going to do whatever. But really, and I mean, young, I used to make them, but I haven't made New Year's resolutions since I was like 18, 19 years old.
Oh,
maybe
wow.
20.
I quit a lot later in life. I think maybe 29, 30-ish time frame.
So I guess that goes back to just, there's a lot to it, right? To unpack on why I don't, or whatever. But I've always lived my life like, hey, there's no fucking tomorrow. So just do what you need to do. A few people know, when I was 17, I was stabbed. I died a couple times on the table. Like I essentially, when I turned 18, I was like, life's pretty short. So live a certain way. And I've kind of always lived that way. So waiting until New Year's, waiting until, hey, this year I'm going to do it. I've just always done it. Hence maybe that's why my body's so beat up, because I've just always done it.
Okay. So both of us are, we took different paths to get there, but we both ended up at the same place. Like, fuck the New Year's resolutions. Life's too short. Don't be a bitch. If you want to do it, just fucking do it. Right. Set your sights on it and go. So that's us. Do you feel that some people do need a New Year's resolution? Or do you think it's just a waste in general?
I think it's a waste, because to say that everybody wants like motivation to do stuff, right? So I need motivation to go to the gym more, and I'll use my New Year's resolution as my motivation.
Yeah.
I need motivation to get a better job, or I need motivation to go to school. Like, we're all motivated. Everybody wants to do better. Everybody
motivation fades though. Motivation fades so fast.
But motivation doesn't, like, yeah, I'm super motivated. I want a Lamborghini right now. I'm motivated. What can I do? It doesn't mean I have the dedication to go do that. So until you get the dedication to do that, and you have the discipline to do what it takes, then you don't get it. And at that point, you don't need motivation anymore. So
I feel like a New Year's resolution is a goal, is it not? Like, you set a goal as when the new year comes, I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to eat this bad food. Right. And for the first day, you're pretty motivated to accomplish that. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
It dwindles every day. And I wonder if it comes back to, because your New Year's resolution is now behind you. That goal that you set, it's not in front of you anymore. If you want to reach that goal, you got to look to the back, right? You're
Yeah.
not actually moving towards something that you can achieve.
So I would say if I was going to set a New Year's resolution, so let's say it's 2024.
Yeah.
And it's January 1. What I would say is my New Year's resolution is going to be New Year's January 2025. I'm going to have this thing, or I'm going to be in this shape, or I'm going to achieve this. I have my year of working towards whatever that goal is.
Yeah.
Because if I set it for January 2024, like
Yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
now it's behind me, right? So, like, for instance, SAC is my end date to get myself into a certain shape, to get a certain amount of knowledge for certain things. Like, that's my goal, and I need my dedication to get to that goal.
Yeah.
But if SAC was last year and I just want to get into shape for last year, that doesn't make any sense.
No, true. So since you brought that up, right, I'm going to skip down a little bit and talk about, we're skipping a few bullet points that I wrote down, but we can jump to how do you stay on track? Habits, little goals, having a plan, right? I feel like those all tie to each other. You're talking about like, January 2024, I set this goal for January 2025.
Yeah.
That's a long ways away. So I feel like you have this master goal, this main goal, and then inside that main goal, you got to have these smaller ones, right?
Yeah, for
and
sure.
it's got to be something that you can reach so that you like, as your motivation starts to dwindle and you have to rely on discipline, when that discipline starts to break down, you finally reach that goal, and what happens? The motivation level spikes because you just accomplished something, right?
Yeah.
You can do this once a month. It can be rifle related. If you're looking for a specific skill set or accuracy or time on a stage or a distance that you want to hit first round. It could be physical fitness related, right? But you should be setting micro goals that are stepping stones to get to that final goal, right? Because that one, I
Yeah.
believe that's going to help you get to the end, habits as you set forward on these paths of like, I want to be a better shooter. Okay. Well, the easiest way to shoot yourself in the foot with this plan is to not have a plan, right? Oh, I want to be a better shooter. I'm a dry fire every day. All right, cool. So the first day you start the dry fire, second day, by the third day, you're like, I don't know what to do. I've been doing this, I've just been doing these random dry fire drills.
Like going to the gym without a notebook.
There you go. Like, we have on the website, we have the dry fire playbook. You can download the dry fire playbook, and now you have a set skill set that you can focus on. But it's somebody else telling you what to do, which is kind of what I really experienced last year with having a trainer, is her telling me, you're going to do this today. I wasn't always happy about what she's telling me to do, but I'm like, fuck it. Like, okay, I'll do it, and it's just me focusing on accomplishing it. One, I felt like I'm chasing my goal, but I'm also competing against her because she's trying to set me up to do things that are difficult and challenging. She's testing my mental fortitude. So have a plan and then be able to follow it. That's the first step. I feel you got to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you are set up for failure from the beginning.
Yeah. And so have a plan is obviously the first thing to do, right? But my second is probably a little different.
Okay.
My second step after the plan is to, how do I make this easy?
You have to have that. You have to have that.
Which sounds kind of simple, like kind of stupid, right? How do I make this one thing easy?
I completely understand.
But if I'm trying to diet,
yeah,
I'm going to only put shit in my house that is on my diet. Boom. Which means I wake up and I've pre-made my meals.
Yeah.
Or I wake up and I put the good snack at the front of the fridge. Whatever. I want to get better at golf. It's tough for me to go to the range. What I do, I mean, not everybody can do this, but I built a fucking simulator in my house so I can wake up, go hit balls. Every time I'm in and out of the garage, I hit a couple balls, right? If I'm putting my gym shoes at the foot of my bed, so I wake up, they're right there, shit, put them on and go run. The little things that set me up for success are born of my natural laziness to make myself successful.
That's everybody though.
Yeah.
That's everybody. Like, you want to dry fire every day, then you should probably set yourself up so that when you get to that time period of the day that is meant for dry firing, it's easy.
Don't bury your gun in the back of the safe. Put it in the front.
Exactly.
Don't put it away. I don't put shit away. You know, like keep
Yeah.
keep stuff, make stuff easy for you to use.
100%. So I know I like that one. And then I feel like habits also tie into that, make things easy for you, where you start to develop a habit, right? And we talked about this in previous episodes where, like, my workout routine, I have to work out in the morning. I wake up at the same time every day. I go for a run. I go to the gym. And if I don't, if for whatever reason we have a podcast and I can't get to the gym, I know the chances of me going to the gym later are like slim to none, because it doesn't fit into my habitual routine that I built for myself, right? The motivation to hit the gym is not there at 6 p.m. at night. It's just not, right? Other people are different. I understand that. But I think a routine and a habit is everything, right? And that kind of goes back to another bullet point that I had put down is you got motivation versus discipline. And I asked you this question before we jumped on this podcast. What is the difference between motivated, disciplined versus being driven, right? So I kind of took it a step further. You got motivation, right? And everybody gets motivated to do something. And then when that motivation fails because things get hard, they get challenging, right? Life gets in the way. Life gets in the way of fucking everything. Like it just does. So that's where the discipline's got to come in to pick up where motivation leaves off, right? But then you've got those two things. And I feel like you can be motivated and then you can fall back to that discipline. And what does that mean? Like, to me, I guess it's, every day I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. And at first I'm motivated. I got a goal. I'm like chasing micro goals throughout my process. And then, at certain point, like my habits and my discipline have to take over, because I will wake up and I'm like, damn, I'm not motivated today, but I have to go. And then the other side of that coin, in my opinion, is driven. And I feel like the difference between discipline and driven is that discipline, like, oh, I got to get up, I got to do this. Some days shit will just happen and you won't do it. You're like, whatever, like I could take a rest day. It's fine. I know that I'm not going to be hurt because I didn't work out today. It's fine. Whereas if you're driven, nothing will stop you from hitting that fucking goal that day. Like that is your sole priority in life. Every day that mission has to be accomplished, right? And then to take that a step further, you got like driven to insanity, like madman status, where not only are you driven, like say, for example, like when we had the interview with my trainer from last year, she said that she had to come up with workouts to keep me from working out after the workout.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of that came from like mentally, I'm sitting there thinking like, I didn't do enough today. Somebody out there is training harder than me. Like
that was going to be my example of driven to insanity, right? Like I would say that for me, an example would be motivation and discipline have to go hand in hand in order to achieve a goal, right?
Yeah.
You have to be motivated. Your motivation is your reason why, and your motivation is what you think of when you wake up to do it, right? That's the reason why you're getting towards a goal. And your discipline is your is what you have to have in order to get your ass up and go do that, right?
Yeah.
You need both. If you're driven towards a goal, you don't need motivation, you don't need discipline, because it doesn't matter. You're driven to do that, and you're going to do it no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter your discipline, no matter your motivation, you were driven to do something. It's something that's embedded in you to get that done. And you may not be driven, right? You may not have motivation. You may not have discipline in a lot of things. You may not have, in your general life, you may not have discipline to do paperwork. You may not have discipline to do your diet or whatever it is, but you're driven to do this one thing.
Yeah.
So if you're driven towards a goal, nothing else really matters.
No, absolutely.
Discipline or motivation.
And that kind of leads in, and one, we need to make sure we're tying this to all aspects. Like, it's not just about physical fitness. That just happens to be a path that we're on right now. But if we were, like golf, climbing, precision rifle shooting, like all of that stuff, you can use these same, I don't want to call them tricks. They're almost like life hacks, like you need these things put in place to accomplish what you want to do. And so when motivation and discipline, or you're driven, right, at some point, all good things will end. It just does, right? Like the minute we got to SAC, it was game time. And then after SAC was over, the intensity of my workouts dropped.
Yeah.
Right. There's a burnout. One, not just the intensity because of like, oh my gosh, like I need a break, but my fucking body needed a break.
Yeah. I was gonna say, physically, you didn't have an option. Like,
I didn't have an option. Right. But at the same time, like that, I wasn't ready to chase next year yet. I wasn't ready. Like I needed time to recover mentally. I needed time to regroup and process what happened and say, okay, we made it to the goal. We didn't accomplish the end goal. And how are we going to rebuild? Right. I want to be motivated. I have the discipline. I need to get back to that driven status, but you're going to hit a wall. You're going to hit a burnout phase. And that's where the reset happens. Right. And so that's where the reset may happen. It may not, right? And that's where my next question comes out is, when you reach that wall or you hit that burnout, where do you fall back to? For me, it's the habits.
Yeah.
Fall back to the habits, because those habits of what you've done every single day for the past 365 days is ingrained in your life. So even though you're not doing it at the same intensity, you're still doing it, right? You're still getting that rep in. It could be after the PRS World Cup or whatever the fuck you're training for. And you didn't hit your goal. You're a little demotivated, but you know what? You still come home from work every day at 5 p.m. You walk through that door. There's your rifle. There's the barricade. There's your dry fire target. And it's habitually, you're just like, all right, let me grab my shit. And you're not doing it as intense. You're still doing it for perfection. And those reps matter, right? As you
100%
mentally get yourself back into, okay, it's time to prep for the 2024 season, right? It's important to not let yourself drop off so much that you have to climb that steep mountain again, right? It's a lot easier to ride the hilltops than it is to drop all the way down to the bottom of the mountain and have to climb back up.
Yeah. I just had a discussion about this the other day where, I remember if I told you or not, but I pulled my hamstring.
Yeah.
Kind of, I wouldn't say it was overtraining, but I've been training pretty hard. I've been probably pushing more miles on the hikes than I should have. And I've been doing way more, like, I've been pushing my workouts pretty hard. Strained a hamstring, and it set me back. And as we know, we'll talk about some other stuff here pretty soon, but I set off my full body inflammation. So now instantly my back's fucked again. My hand hurts. Like, everything's just jacked up. I'm like, oh, fast forward, Now I got another kid. Now I have to carry my toddler 24/7 because now my toddler is basically, I can't leave her alone with mom.
Yeah.
So like it's been a rough week for me, but prior to that, with my hamstring being pulled the 2 weeks before that, like it's just been, the 3 weeks has been horrible. And a week into me taking a little bit of rest off my hamstring, I was talking to my wife and I was like, right now is a make or break for me.
Yeah.
I either go, okay, cool, it's sore, get back on the horse, or I go, I need to give it a couple more weeks because I'm kind of sore. Right.
Yeah.
Right now is the fork in the road. Which way do I go? And I started speed training in the gym and just went right back to it. The intensity wasn't the same, but I had to fall back on like, look, I need to look at my goals. I need to look at my calendar and set my goals in my routine. So
Yeah.
for me, I have to fall back on my routine, which is my calendar. I look at my calendar and I've got literally times set for what I need to do every day. And even if it's my 20 minutes when the baby's asleep to come out here and hit balls or work out, maybe it's not as tough.
Yeah.
Maybe it's half as many balls, or maybe the workout is half as much, but I stick to the routine to get myself over that hump again once I hit that.
So before we move on to the next topic, you talk about having the calendar of like, this is the workouts that I have to do today at these times, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're a very avid golfer, right?
Mhm.
And you've got an indoor facility that you can practice on and stuff like that. So let me ask you this. At what point do you feel you don't need a calendar? Like, is
Oh, I
that
always need it.
you always need one? So
100%.
having a calendar doesn't necessarily mean you haven't built a habit. It's still a structure for you to follow.
Yeah, for sure. So part of my calendar is because I live in a household that we have other people I need to work around, right?
Yeah.
So part of my calendar is so they see my calendar and they can go, oh, I can ask dad to do this for me today at this time, or I've got an appointment I need to make. I can just go look at his calendar and his schedule. Like last night, my wife is scheduling the doctor's appointment. Was it a doctor's appointment? We were scheduling. I have to take my daughter to golf in like an hour.
Yeah.
And we were trying to schedule a time to pick her up. And without hesitation, she's like, no, you're getting picked up right at noon. And because, and I was like, why does she got to be picked up right at noon? And she's like, because you have a podcast at 1 and we can't wait till 1 o'clock to go get her. And I was like, oh, okay.
Damn.
So a lot of my calendar time is for everybody else too, but I need the structure because I only have so much mental capacity to remember everything I have to do.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to just glance. Here's my day in a snapshot, and then go about my business. It's not like I'm looking at my calendar every 5 minutes, but first thing of the day, I look at my calendar. I go, I got this going on today. Cool. This is my times to do this. Awesome.
It works, dude. It definitely works. And I think it's important that people just find a system that works for them and then roll with it. But the habits are important. So topic number 2 is a page out of a football playbook. Like, I know you're not a big football guy, but something pretty crazy happened in the past week where the greatest coach in college football history retired.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest coach in NFL history retired. And then another coach who's won 1 or 2 Super Bowls and also won a national title at the college level. He's one of the only people to do that. He also retired, right? So you got all these badass dudes retiring. And, so now you start to hear like stories from their past. And one of these individuals talks about consistency and accountability, right? So everything we've just discussed in topic 1, which was a New Year's resolution and setting habits, and when motivation dies, got to have that discipline, right? But that's consistency. Like you're setting yourself up to be consistent. even after you burn out, you're still being consistent, right? You're still going through those reps, those motions. But then how about accountability? Like I feel like that's an important piece of this pie because you have to be accountable to something, to yourself, right? And what does it mean to be accountable? Like what's your, if you hold yourself accountable, what's your punishment for failing to execute the plan of the day? Like
I mean, honestly,
and lashings.
no, I mean, it sounds sort of cheesy, but I have kids that I'm gonna start crying. I have kids that I have to set an example for.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of my motivation comes from making sure they see me succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not setting goals and I'm not achieving those goals and I'm not putting the work in to achieve those goals, how can I look at them and say, work harder in school, do your chores, stay true to your word, do these things that make you a good person and make you a strong, successful person? If I can't tell them, hey, you can be whatever you want. And then they look at me and I'm just a fucking fat schlup that's not doing anything. They're like, did you just not want to be anything? You know what I mean? So my accountability is the next generation that I'm bringing up.
Okay.
I have accountability for myself, right? Like if I don't do these things, then for all intents and purposes, I can barely walk, right? If I don't stay in shape, my back and my hips go, nope, you're done. Like
Yeah.
you're in a walker. So that's sort of my self-motivation, but my accountability is to my kids, to the ones that see me and see how I treat myself.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, dude. No, that's legit. Um, I think the same thing could be applied to a rifleman, right? A competitor or something like that. Like people around you, even if they're not verbally holding you accountable, mentally, if you have that same standard for yourself, that, if you're a leader, if you're an instructor, like you're getting out there and you're doing these things, and if you don't, you're going to look like ass and people will doubt you or, mentally their vision of you will hold you back, right? Or um, kind of put you in check, like humble you because
Yeah, for sure.
you weren't accountable to yourself, and now the outside world's eyes are basically holding you accountable, and you will feel that later. Like I don't know if it's an instant thing. Like you can not work out for a day, Jeff, and your kids are going to be like, "Oh, it's fine." But if you don't work out, if you don't do what you're supposed to do for 3 years, that's when that outside vision looking back at you starts to hold you accountable. And if you get to
For
that point,
sure.
it's already too fucking late.
Yeah, for
It's already
sure.
too late. So, uh,
Here's just a side note on that real quick. We talk about like other people at like matches and things like that. One of the reasons why, well, I think one of the positives of social media is as a whole, we put ourselves out there like this is what we're doing, this is our plan. Like for me, like, hey, here's my new pack that's going to be for SAC, and just this podcast, this is what we're doing. We put ourselves out for other people to see what our goals are. And so if we show up to a match and we're sacks of shit,
yeah,
then people are already going, oh, you're not what I thought you were.
yeah,
Versus the guy that just shows up that nobody knows about because he doesn't put anything out there and he just does okay, right? No one looks twice.
yeah.
But any of us go out to a match and just shit the bed, they're going to hold us accountable for it.
100%. 100%, man. That brings me to the next and final piece of this, which is I wrote mine down. I don't know what yours is, but do you have a vision for yourself? And if you want, I could go first,
Yeah,
right?
you go first. I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Okay. So for myself, like as a, let's keep it within the frame of what my profession is. I am a educator in precision rifle shooting as well as military sniping, right? I also apply those lessons to law enforcement sniping. So if we need to put a bullet somewhere or into someone, that is my job, right? That is my profession. And I try to impart that knowledge to other people while also continuing to learn. So my vision for myself, what I want to achieve, what I want other people to see is I want fear, and with that fear, I want the challenge. So let's say I'm going to go to a rifle competition and I'm going to compete. What's the fear that I want? I want people to see that my name is on that roster and they're like, fuck, Tyler's here. I want them to feel like their chances of winning just went down. On top of that, with that fear, I want them to bring their best. If I get beat, that's fine. But I want to go head to head with you or anybody else that wants to step toe to toe because I want your best, right? So I feel like I want the fear of, damn, Tyler's here, but then I also want Tyler's here. I got to fucking step it up, right? Like I want to go against the best and I want to do it head to head. So regardless of the situation, competing, military, law enforcement, when you're in the arena, people should be saying, fuck. And I wrote here, like, use the Ellie example. I want to say this was probably around like maybe 2018, 2017, somewhere in that time frame, right? A lot of law enforcement training. Our advanced sniper course was, you know, basically reaching the level that it is now, where it's just known throughout the California and the country as like the class to go to because of the tripod work, because of the loophole shooting, the high angle stuff, like all of this stuff wrapped into this 5-day course where, you know, throughout the course, you get to know these cops and you're chatting with them. You're like, you know, subjects come up. Well, I remember at one point in time, somebody said to me, if you ever go crazy and we get a call for you, I'm calling off that day. How fucking badass is that? Like,
I know.
I mean, I would call off too. You know what? God damn it.
Yeah,
So,
fair enough.
I mean, so it's stuff like that where, you know, I don't want to say that once you hear that statement, you've made it, because the minute you think that you've made it, you haven't, right? Somebody will catch you. You should always be pushing yourself to go higher, go higher, go higher. I mean,
Yeah,
you look
sure.
at what we're in 2024, you look at 14 years ago, precision rifle shooting was way different. Target sizes were different, positions were different. You know, like now, fast forward, if you take somebody from 2010 and you drop them into 2024, they're going to be like, holy fuck. Like the advancement of everything has made us that much better, and it's not going to stop.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
only going to get
I
better.
was shooting F class in silhouette in 1999 and 2000.
Yeah.
So I mean, talk about the way things have changed since then.
And now you're expecting the same results from F class that you're expecting from PRS shooters shooting off wobbly barricades.
Yeah.
Like, think about how far we've progressed. And it's because there's somebody always trying to push the limits, you know, like 5 years ago, if I would have said, hey, we're going to hold a match and it's going to be a 1 MOA match, people would be fucking scared.
Mhm.
But now you say, hey, we're going to have a match, it's going to be a 1 MOA. Every target's going to be 1 MOA. Okay, let's do it. You know,
Like,
like,
okay.
yeah, the fear factor is not there anymore because
Yeah.
you get used to pushing those limits so much. So that would be my vision for myself, is wanting that aura around me of, damn, Tyler's here. Like, so what about you? What do you see your vision for yourself? Like, whether it's, you know, I guess it's perception. Like, what do
Yeah, I mean,
you,
mine's different, right? So my background, being, a law enforcement sniper, but also being range cadre, firearms instructor, my core was firearms instruction, right? The sniper team has always been an ancillary duty. So for me, teaching has always been like, I want people to look at me as that's the guy with the knowledge. And that's the guy I want to learn from. And whether it's golf, whether it's hunting, whether it's shooting, I go out hunting and I don't even care to pull a trigger anymore. When I go, I want to take my sister, I want to take my friends, and I want to put them on an animal. I want to call something in for them. I want to pass on the knowledge I have to the next generation of shooters.
Yeah.
So for me, I want the aura to be, let's go learn from Jeff.
Mhm.
Let's ask him the questions. Let's sit down for 2 hours and have a fucking conversation about Bitcoin. Let's sit down and get information about the latest in this action or this barrel technology or these fucking golf clubs. I just enjoy imparting knowledge because I'm not going to live forever. The only thing that I can do that will solidify me forever is to pass on something I know to somebody else.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can pass it on to somebody else. So, and to be fair, for me, it's that whatever that hell that saying is, like, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. That holds true for me so much, because I could go out to a match and I could compete and I could keep up. I just can't go out to matches every weekend, not because I'm not physically capable of it, but because my priorities are different.
Yeah.
I can't spend the time to stay that sharp as I would need to compete. But I could teach those that need to. And that's kind of what I like to do anyhow.
Yeah. That's a good point, man. Now that I'm traveling so much and I'm out of the country 50% of the year, the competition attendance for me is down, right?
Yeah.
So the challenge that I've been faced with is, can I maintain that 1% while not participating? That has been a big fear of mine, right? Because you see, last year I was gone for a lot of the year. I came back in June. I competed in Steel Safari. I didn't get the result I wanted. I wanted first, but I walked away, I think, third. So
yeah, but here's the other part of teaching, that the self-serving part of it that I left out, which is when we teach, we're also keeping ourselves sharp.
yeah,
When we teach and we repeat the information, we're also repeating it to ourselves to stay sharp.
100%. Some of it for me is not the knowledge base, but the muscle memory of like getting in a position, checking my natural point of aim, like, stuff like that. So I'm excited to get back and jump into a few competitions and see if I've been able to keep that razor sharp, or, what needs to change for me. Because as of right now, I'm still going to be 50% traveling the world, teaching outside the United States.
Yeah.
So if I can't stay sharp with my current plan, what do I need to do to stay there? Right. And, you've heard the term iron sharpens iron, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's iron, like,
yeah,
you got to, somebody or something or whatever it is that's sharpening you has to be of equal or greater caliber, or you're not reaching those heights, so
yeah. And it's funny because another golf example, if I go out with my buddies who play off like 18 handicap, we just play public courses and we're just buddies and they're not hardcore golfers, I'll go out and I'll just play shitty golf. It just is what it is. When I go out with my buddies that are playing off scratch or better and they take the game very seriously, I go out and I play the best games of my life. So you have people that can drive you, but it's got to be iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Like, just going out and shooting matches and hanging out with guys that aren't bringing you up a notch isn't doing you any good.
No, it's not. But it doesn't necessarily have to be people, for example, like, I'm sure you can relate this to golf, but I think about like some of the shooting that I get to do here when I'm traveling is military shooting, using 308 It's not the same caliber that we compete with. So wind call's got to be better, right?
Mhm.
So on that side right there, we're using an inferior caliber. So that is iron, and it's sharpening my skill set to read the wind, to make these adjustments, to see the small changes that are happening downrange. But the other thing could be the target size, right? And this is something I've started to push on the students. We have standards for when they have to qualify, right? Like we may not like them, I may not like them, but it doesn't matter. Like in reality, from 0 to 200, it's got to be an 8-inch plate. And then from 200 to 350, it's got to be a 50% IPSC. And then from, or 3/4 or whatever. And then from 350 to 600, it's got to be a full size IPSC. So when I look at those targets, I'm like, damn, they're so big.
God damn, that's a big target.
It's a big target. And like, I go through the course of fire, and if I drop a shot, I'm kind of pissed off at myself because I shouldn't be dropping shots on these courses of fire with those size of targets, right? So now when we train, when we lead up to those qualifications, I mean, I'm the biggest target on the range is going to be that 50% IPSC.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to be missing throughout the entire week. The highest score is going to be like, it's going to start in the low 20s. But then by the end of the week, dudes will be shooting 50%, 60%. And then when it comes time for qual day and all the regular targets are out there, right? You feel like you can't miss because all week, all week you've been sharpened by this iron, which is the target size, right? And then, of course, going and competing against other people, they're also pushing you to level up, right? So
I think it's the same. We've talked about it before with training rifles and things like that.
Yeah.
I think these 22 trainers aren't trainers. These 223 trainers, they're not doing you any good.
Yeah.
When I practice here, I have a set of blades that are same spec as my golf clubs, but they're little tiny golf clubs. They are very hard to hit. They're not forgiving. And that's what I practice with.
Yeah.
And I take my clubs out the course. I'm like, fuck, I can't miss with these things.
That's a great point, dude. Like using the 308 shouldn't be viewed as a crutch or as what's the right word I'm looking for here? It shouldn't be viewed as a negative.
Yeah,
but as a training tool, right? And I try to approach it that way because if I have a bad position and I shoot and my rifle jumps off target, it's instant feedback that I'm sucking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to pick these little tools up here and there to sharpen yourself when there's other people not there to push you. I love the Marines. I love the snipers that I get to work with, but I'm here for a reason. And that reason is that I've not lost to a student since I've been here. So me expecting them to level me up, it's not that easy, right?
Yeah, you got to come home for that, or you got to use shitty equipment.
Because I'm the one there to level them up, right?
Yeah.
They're chasing me, and I love it. I enjoy competing with them. I don't mind putting myself out there. I'm confident in my abilities, and I notice, right? Like there'll be times where we'll be out on the range and hey, prone shot. And we'll bet like a pair of socks or some random bullshit that's not monetary and keep it professional. Hey, I bet you a pair of socks, I can beat you hitting this target. And it could be, 650 meters, 3/4 IPSC, you get one shot. And, you should see the difference that will take place when they're running a drill versus competing against me. It is the focus level is insane, right?
Their eyes start instantly dilating.
They just want to beat me. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And so everything that you've taught them is now coming into focus. Whereas if they're running a drill, it's kind of a loose focus.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's what I got for this episode. I wanted to bring up New Year's resolutions. And like, as we're starting this new year, I felt like it was a perfect time to do this because what is it? January 16, 17, depending on where you are in the world?
Yeah, I think it's the 16th today. Yeah.
Okay. So that's about when your motivation starts to slide after New Year's resolution.
100% halfway through the month.
if you're listening to this, get out of that motivational phase, get to that discipline phase, set those habits, push forward, make those small goals, establish your plan, right? And keep pushing. Like
100%.
it's only going to get harder from here. And so you got to be prepared for that difficulty. All right. Well, Jeff, to all of our listeners, we thank you guys for listening. Appreciate your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you like these videos, turn on notifications. We did fix that problem like what, 4 months ago?
About that. And we've also working on, we almost have the website SSL certificate fixed. So in a couple days, it should be good to go. You guys can stop panicking. No one's stealing your info when you go to maxordinate.com.
And that's the weird thing, dude, is like our pay window and our actual shopping cart is supported by Wix.
Yeah.
And Wix
It's
runs their
safe.
Yeah, they run their own SSL certificate, and it's just been such a struggle bus with this Google transition and just logging into the account. Like, it was funny to get your message yesterday though, like, hey, are you sure we own our own website?
Who's this Canadian?
Who's this Canadian? And I'm like, oh yeah, we have our privacy settings turned on. It's all good. So anyways, we want to keep pumping these episodes out. We need the support. Please visit our website, download some of those free targets. Be on the lookout for the t-shirts and the stickers and the hats and all of this swag that people have been asking for. It's going to get ready to get dropped on the website. Shipping, we're typically, we're not Amazon. Let's just put that out there right now. Okay.
There's a day or two.
There's a 1 or 2 day delay from the time you order to the time it gets in a box, So if you're interested, go to our Patreon website, start looking at some of the specific content that's going to be dropped there. Jeff, I haven't mentioned it on the show before, but it's about $8 a month, right? I think it's $8 a month for exclusive content. And as we start ramping up for the new year, okay, getting away from YouTube and having a platform that'll allow us to have more freedom in whatever we want to do or say. But there is a $20 tier. It's on Patreon. It's the VIP. And every 3 months, you get a new piece of gear from us. It could be a t-shirt. It could be a neck gaiter, a pair of sunglasses, like a coffee mug. $20 a month, and every 3 months you get one of these products. So it's automatically delivered to you. You don't have to do anything. You just put in, here's what size t-shirt I want. Here's what color mug I want, like yada, yada, yada. So go check that out. If you're at SHOT Show, hit me up, send us a message on Instagram or Facebook. And, if you see me walking around, I'll probably have my hair down with my suit on and wearing Converse or Adidas. And
I will not be there. I will be back in Mexico getting more stem cells.
That's right. You got to fix that broken body, man.
We will do a short episode on that here shortly, just to kind of the update on the men's health front. But yeah, I'm bummed I won't be going to SHOT, but I'll be getting some more health stuff done. So I'm stoked.
Yeah, dude, take some photos while you're there. So
I will
throw these up and be like, this is the shady hospital that I stayed in the entire time. All right, dude. It was a great combo. Appreciate everybody listening. Catch you later, buddy.
Peace.